Good morning, everyone. I'm Jhanak Sharma. So let's start with something unusual. If a smartphone without a charger, an old love letter, and a packet of chip walked into this room, who do you think would survive the longest or would sustain the longest? Absurd, right? Smartphone, that too without a charger, then we're talking about a chip packet, and then suddenly an old, beautiful love letter. Hold on to that thought because by the end of my speech, we'll answer it together. We all know the phrase, as you sow, so shall you reap, or its modern cousin, what goes around comes around. Often said after regretting gossiping and backpitching about someone, or when you talk about your ex. But it's not just philosophy, it's design. Because design is karma. If we design things to expire, they turn into waste. And if we design them to sustain, they turn as resources. A quick check. How many of you have an expired old debit or a credit card lying in your drawer right now? You don't use it, you don't throw it, but it simply sits there. Now multiply that debit card or a credit card, your plastic card, with your city, then your state, then the country, and suddenly that small plastic card equals billions of plastic fragments, manufactured, expired, and forgotten. And guess what? What we just discussed was modern urban consumerism. It's such a fancy word, but you know what? It's literally we buy, we swipe, and we wipe off. And here's the irony. The card still functions. The magnetic stripe still works, but the date printed on it says, sorry, it's dead. And that's not nature, that's culture. So when we design for expiry, we design an exploitative culture, the culture of consumption. On the other hand, when we design for forever, we design a regenerative culture, the culture of conservation, I'm really sorry. To illustrate this, let me take you back to my hometown, Jodhpur in Rajasthan. Every 3 years, thousands of people walk around a million-year-old hillock. It's known as the Bhogishail Parikrama. Basically, Bhogi means snakes and Shail means a hill. Legends say that that hill had crushed many evil serpents. Geologists say that these formations have many global scientific significance. I was so fascinated, I made a documentary on it in the 2023 Parikrama. This ritual had literally survived for centuries. Like, can you imagine the ritual protecting the local biodiversity and in return, the biodiversity protecting the tradition of indigenous community. Needless to mention, the local ecology protecting the local economy. And that hillock protected by a ritual, the ritual protected by a hill, because they understood something we've all forgotten. Survival is symbiosis. Culture and nature locked in a symbiotic relationship. Neither lets the other one die. And what I realized was that this ritual wasn't about a faith like ordinary rituals. It was the design. Simple yet impactful ritual designed to survive and thrive on infinite resources. The only infinite resources we have is the human spirit or the faith. So that's eco-karma, designed for circularity in action, culture and nature regenerating each other. While one system, the plastic card with its expiry, is planned obsolescence, the other one, the Bhogishail Parikrama, is planned sustenance. And one is mindless consumption. In this modern urban consumerism stage, it's just mindless consumption. On the other hand, the Bhogishail Parikrama is value creation. One is restrictive, retiring a resource, plastic, created to live forever, and the other one is regenerative, harnessing the true potential of human spirit. And what makes the difference? It's the power of design. One design expires, the other one respires. One is a linear design, the other one is a circular design. And to solve this design problem, here's a framework. Every entity needs 3 sets of resources. One set of resources to manufacture the product. Second set of resources to keep it going. And the third one to regenerate it. That was too technical, like a management lecture. Let's simplify it. Imagine you're running a tea stall. The first set of resources you need are the tea leaves, the sugar, the milk, or the kettle. The second one, to keep it going, would be obviously the customers. You need money's investment. And the third one could be a barista. I'm so sorry, the last one could be a barista. And the third set of resources would obviously be your, the staff. You need someone to clean it. You need someone to refill or reuse it to keep the earning regenerating. And we forget one thing, that this was circular design. But in linear design, we limit the human potential, and by just making that design viable, feasible, and desirable. But a circular design should also have two main attributes, which are longevity and reversibility. So in the PPT, I've mentioned it. So I've given an example of planning a road trip. So let's go with that example. If you want to plan a road trip, it should be desirable. Like, everyone wants to go to that place you've selected. You should actually be able to afford the fuel, viability, feasibility, that the path you're choosing takes you to your destination. The longevity would be that within the same budget, you can visit more places. Like, to make it more sustainable, and for that factor, you can maybe select an electric vehicle so that within the same budget, you can visit more places. And reversibility, that yes, it should be desirable, feasible, and viable on the way back home as well. You do not get just stuck up over there. And that's circularity. So I asked why 3 years ago, that why we designed death into plastic cards that could live multiple lives. I petitioned for circular, tech-driven alternatives. We made plastic to last forever, yet in every 2 to 5 years, we make those credit cards or debit cards to expire. That's like giving someone immortality and then firing them on day 1000. Or buying a new pair of jeans, which comes with dry clean only. Congratulations, sir. Now your jeans has a longer to-do list than you. We can't work like that. So that campaign, Pay Cards Go Green, was later recognized by United Nations Environment Programme in 2025. In 2023, we were called for for G20 Chief Scientific Advisors Roundtable at IIT. And all of this was not because it was flashy. It was simple. The most complex thing is to make it simple. That, yes, it showed the problems which look local or not local. Like, suppose the hill in Jodhpur is not a local thing. And talking about your card lying in your drawer is, again, not a very small problem. They have global impact. So let's go back to the question I asked in the beginning. If a smartphone without a charger, an old love letter, or packet of chips walks into this room, who do you think would survive? Obviously the smartphone, right? Modern, techie, shiny. But I kind of spoke for 10 minutes and I won't let you pass with a straightforward answer. Because that smartphone is modern, but without its charger, it's just a shiny brick. That's obsolescence. But here's the twist. The charger is obviously the one which keeps it going. That's the design that sustains it. It lets the mobile phone regenerate again and again. And without it, it's literally nothing. And the chip packet, that's a cool one. It survives for over 100 years. Nice, right? Could that be your answer? But it survives as a waste. It haunts us like ghosts. It's stagnant, it does not evolve. And it is most of the times like those rigid traditional practices, which do not adapt, they do not evolve. They're just there. They survive for long years. We're still following some rules, but still they do not adapt to our generation. A love letter, I'm sure I would, and most of the girls would pay $100 sitting over here for a vintage aesthetic love letter. Because why not? It's trendy, it's catchy. Why? Because it regenerates meaning across time. Because even when the readers and the writers of that letter are gone, those emotions, those expressions, those memories flow like rivers. They flow like rivers, they're boundless. And yes, that is the reason it is a circular design. It keeps regenerating itself. The idea never dies. So ask yourself, do you want to live as a shiny but useless gadget, ghost of consumerism, the chip packet, or the letters or rivers of renewal? And here's the takeaway. Phone without chargers are products designed to expire. And chip packets are those rigid habits, which is not because I'm personally Pisces, but because the future isn't written in expiry dates. It's written in design for circularity. So the next time you hold an expired card or see an ancient ritual, ask yourself, is it a mobile phone without its charger? Or is it an old love letter? Or is it just a packet of old chips? Thank you so much.